So it's reported in the January 17th Observer that your neck surgery recovery would keep you out of action for about a year. Meltzer would accurately point out that you might surface in a managerial or announcing role if the right opportunity presented itself. Ted, I know that you had your sights set on retiring early after the untimely passing of your father in the ring, but I'm curious, when you suffered the neck injury in Japan, did you know immediately, like, okay, my in-ring days are over, or were you hopeful that maybe you could return for
No,
another?
I didn't. I didn't know immediately. I it took a while. I mean, I had to come home and go see a doctor, and you know, it's kind of like, I think Jake, if I'm not mistaken, had a similar surgery with his neck. Have you
He
guys
did.
talked about it?
He did, yes. And I think it was recommended to him that he stop wrestling at that time.
Yeah. Well, and that's what my doctor said. He said, he says, "No, I can't tell you what to do." And he says, "But he says, like it's almost like this could come back to haunt you again." So his recommendation was, I recommend that you retire. And I think when this all happened, I think I was 39. I was about to turn 40. And back to the promise I made to myself, I said, just because my father died at the age of 69, I'm sorry, 45, in 1969, I said, I'm not going to stay too long. And I was about to turn 40. Okay, I'm about to turn 70, now, tomorrow. Yeah,
and and you've got your health, so
yeah,
probably the right
yeah,
move is to
yeah,
step away.
yeah. So,
Um, well, you've been out of action with the WWF since August '93 at this point, but here's the new year's getting started. You're brought back as a surprise color commentator at the Royal Rumble. During this time away, you'd have your surgery. Is that correct?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Now you're going from working every single day and being on the road constantly to all of a sudden you come to a full and complete stop with that lifestyle. Was it a difficult adjustment for you?
No. I mean, after being on the road like I had been on the road, it was like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's kind of like, I got to do what? I got to show up for the pay-per-view and do commentary, and then I would show up again once a week. I think for a day, maybe two, uh, and do the voiceover stuff with Gorilla Monsoon because they used to do three shows once every 3 weeks. They would do a Monday night. It was 3 weeks of Monday Night Raw, and then or whatever that was, Wrestling Challenge. I can't remember them now. But they would do three shows on Monday, three shows on Tuesday, and then the only thing I would have to come back for was the commentary, because they would just do all of the wrestling for those 3 weeks of shows. But then you'd have to do the commentary, come back and do the commentary in the back in Stanford.
Right. Okay. It's like the voiceover type
Yeah,
commentary.
yeah,
So, man, life had changed big time whenever you get this call to come in and become an announcer, which is a good thing. It's a
yeah.
good change. You've mentioned before that in all likelihood you could have continued wrestling and been fine. Just like Jake, suffered the injury, he kept working and he worked for another whatever it was, 15 years.
Yeah.
But you weren't willing to risk further injury, which I totally understand. However, when you're arriving at the Royal Rumble and you're back around the boys, and you've got this feeling of kind of detachment, as we mentioned before, because you're not doing the same stuff you'd usually do. Is there ever a moment's hesitation where you're like, maybe I could keep doing it?
I think by that time I was happy to be doing what I was doing.
Okay.
To be honest with you, because the grind of the road. Oh my gosh! I mean, like, I think when I first started for Vince, we were on 3 straight weeks, three weeks 21 days, 21 different cities. And then we would go home for a week and then we would do it again. Then he changed it to 10 days on, 3 days off, and then 4 days on and 3 days off. But any way you look at it, any way you cut the pie, 90% of the time I'm gone. I'm away from home. So honestly, I was, it was like, the only time even now, the only time I ever miss being in the ring is when I see somebody that I recognize the talent in them, and I go, wow, I wish I could get in the ring with that guy. I could help him. So,
well, I mean, looking back on it now, 30 years later, the benefit of hindsight, if you could go back to this 1994 version of Ted DiBiase, and give him advice like, hey, step back in the ring for another year, or no, keep on this path, would you advise him to get back into the ring and, take advantage of his youth, or nope, you're on the right path, keep doing the commentary thing?
no, I would say you made the right choice. So,
You can't ask for more in life, man.
no,
You
you're right.
you get to look back 30 years and you tell him to do exactly what you're doing. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.